If you're just starting out and Google can't find you yet very great or clients, just reach out to your dream clients or clients, maybe a restaurant in your village. Because if you don't do it, they don't know you exist. And if you do reach out, okay, the only thing you can get to know. But if you reach out to 10 people, maybe one is thinking, okay, or maybe it's 6 months later. I often tell in my business program, are the seeds you're planting. It takes time. They're growing. Just do it.
Hello. This is your host, Dyutima, and welcome to My Food Lens podcast, where we talk about everything from food photography, styling, to business and mindset. After 15 years as an architect, I switched careers and I'm now a professional food stylist and food photographer based in Singapore. I'm also the founder of the business My Food Lens, where we help clients elevate their brand through drool-worthy photos. My motto is, put your best food forward. Well, here on this podcast, I promise to keep it raw and real and hope you find your answers, action, and inspiration as we move through the episodes. Hi guys, today we are talking to Lucie Beck. Lucie is a food stylist and food photographer, and she is someone I have seen on Instagram. I've been connected to her on Instagram for a few years now, and I have seen how her photography has changed and evolved over the last few years. And I've also seen how bit by bit, she has built a really thriving photography business. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing. And she has just done it in the most effortless way. As a viewer, as an audience, to me, it looked effortless. I'm pretty certain that she has worked very, very hard on it. But from where I stand, I see her photography as effortless, and I see that her business building is effortless. And that is why, having seen that evolution, having seen that journey, I really wanted to have her to talk to us today, because we all want to grow as creatives. We all want to know how we can do a little better, what we can tweak, how we can take things up a notch. And if we are professionals in food photography, then how can we build a business and keep scaling it up? So I thought Lucie would be a wonderful person to come and talk to us, because she kind of does it in her own sweet way. And I wanted someone like that to talk to us. All right. So I hope that you see that. And I hope that you feel that too as you listen to the episode. One request that I have is, please do listen up to the end. There is a very special question that I'm going to ask Lucie. And it is something that is all about mindset as a creative. Lucie has gone through a really tough personal journey, and she's going to kind of tell us how she navigated through it, and that she continued to thrive as a photographer and as a professional. So if you're listening in, just listen in until the end, because she has something really special to share with us. All right, with that, let's get started. Hi, Lucie, and welcome to My Food Lens podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. I think I've been connected to you on Instagram for a long time, and I've actually seen how you've grown your skills, how your photography has evolved. I remember that you were holding workshops, and then you launched your courses, and now you have a business program, and then you have a photography backdrops business. Like, come on, it's amazing. And I think it's also a little bit special for me, because you're not just a fellow food stylist and photographer, you're also a fellow podcaster. So that is extremely special. So thank you so much for being here today. I think I'm very excited to speak to you, especially because I've seen that evolution in your work. I've seen how you have grown as a photographer, how you've taken your business one level up after the other. So I think there'll be so many lessons that we would love to learn from you. And I'm super excited to chat with you today. So before we begin, if you could please introduce yourself to our audience, please tell us your name, your business, and where you're located.
Yes, thank you so much. Very honored I'm in your podcast. I'm Lucie Beck. I'm a food photographer and food stylist from Holland for several years now. My mission is to share my experience and knowledge to others. I photography for clients, like for online food companies or restaurants, or I also make productions for the magazines. I teach a lot, so in my online membership, my Lucie membership, it's an online community. I have my business program, and I have my backdrop shop in vinyl and digital backdrops. So yeah, actually a lot. And I also give offline workshops and courses in my studio here in Breukelen in Holland.
Oh my God, amazing. I'm just wrapping my head around everything that you do. Oh gosh, it's just incredible. So before we get into all of those like fun details, tell us a little bit about how you got into food photography. How long have you been a food photographer, and how did you reach here where you are? What was the journey like?
I think I started 5 or 6 years ago. Every time I'm telling it, and then the time's passing by. So I think I started in 2017, and I just practiced a lot. So I had another job in a kindergarten, a job, and I practiced a lot. So every week I did some freestyling. I had a cooperation with Brokante shop. And we did some freestyling, like a barter deal, like I could use her props and I was making pictures of it just for my blog, for my lucie.com, and just for the practice. And then her husband asking, why don't you make like a men's setting with hamburgers and fries? And okay, but I was still in the flower scene and cupcakes, but I had nothing to lose. So we went to the restaurant in opposite of the shop. And we make just beautiful pictures. And the owner said, well, Lucie, great pictures. What is your hourly rate? And I didn't have an hourly rate. So I was telling him, I'm coming back to you.
Wow.
And that was actually the moment that I was thinking, okay, Lucie, now you have to focus. You have to choose your niche. Because I think if you choose your niche, you are an expert in that and people will come to you for that. And I really liked it. So that was the moment I absorbed every knowledge about it. And I discovered that lots of people want to learn about it. And in my previous company, that was a company in creative workshops. So I also teach their people. So actually I started early with a workshop of food photography. And yes, it's so easy to me because I really love to share my knowledge. I'm an open book. I just share it, and I'm nothing, how do you call it? I don't have knowledge behind. So yeah, that's where it all started.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. It's just so incredible. I just love it when small little instances define our journey so extremely. Like, you becoming a food photographer was just sparked by that one moment. It's incredible. So if I had to ask you today, how would you define your style of photography? What would you say it is?
Well, actually, I think that's a difficult question. Lots of students are asking me this question. What is my style? How do I find my style? I think my style is changing all the time. Am I an artist? I don't know. But I think food styling and food photography, it's an opinion. It's a development. When I just started out, it was very dark, moody. So like the Rembrandt pictures, with the hard contrast.
Right.
And I had beautiful light in my studio, like the light from the north. But then I discovered I already had some clients, but lots of clients want to have light, bright photos. I didn't have them. So I was thinking, okay, I have to practice it, and I want to have it in my portfolio and on Instagram to attract other clients. So that was my change of photographing in light and bright. And then I had my own vinyl backdrops in colors. So I also used to play with colors. But now my style is more minimal. So sometimes I won't even use a napkin or cutlery, just nothing, just playing with the composition, the use of light, the hero. Yeah, so I think I'm more like the minimal styling now. And it can be light, bright, or with colors. So I'm not sticking to one name for styling. And I think it's good also you have a flow, you're changing. You don't have to stick to one style, I think.
That's so true. And I think that's such a big part of evolving, of growing as a creative. If you stay within that and you think that's working and you do not explore the other side, well, the growth is not going to happen. So that's amazing. And I think that's what we've probably witnessed as well. That's what I, as an audience, has also seen, that you have that variety. It still has a signature way of how you might style the scene, and your maybe your style of editing or your choice of props or whatever. There are still signature things that you bring to it, but you're exploring all realms of light, all realms of composition, and you're informing your style. So I love that answer, because it's such a huge part of growing as a creative. Before we go ahead, I really need to know, what gear do you use?
Well, I'm a Fuji woman.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm photographing with a Fuji X Pro 2 and a Fuji X-T4. Often using the lenses 56 millimeter, 60 to 80 millimeter, and my 80 macro lens. So that are, of course, I also have other lenses, but those are the most common I use. I have a Manfrotto tripod. The smaller one with like the horizontal arm, it's like a 58 or
58B, is it? I think it's a Manfrotto.
Yeah, and I also have a very large for here in the studio with the arm. It's a very big one.
Yeah,
it's way too heavy to bring on locations. Yes, so that's my gear.
Oh wow! And how about light? Do you work with artificial light or natural light?
Yeah, so I started with daylight, then I bought like daylight lamps, and then I was thinking, well, Lucie, you have to, actually I heard it in a podcast about photography, and there was a man, I didn't know who it was, but he was telling in the podcast, well, if you're going for artificial light, your photography will change. They are much more better. So I was wondering, okay, Lucie, you really have to find out how it works. So I started with just cheap speed lights, and now I'm using the Godox at 400 Pro with the softbox. So yeah, and it really changed my photography. Also, I was surprised by the effect.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and in a shoot, I choose or I discuss with the client what he or she wants, but I have possibilities. So I think that's very great to have it in your skills.
Right. I actually love your natural light photos. Your studio, first of all, is so beautiful. Second of all, I'm always drawn to the florals. You create these beautiful table compositions with flower vases and,
My living room.
Oh my God, like those. We don't have such spaces in Singapore. We don't have the liberty of having a studio. We don't even have those colors in Singapore. So when I see those, I can kind of feel the natural light. I can feel the quality of light that you get in the place that you live in. It's so different from ours, but I completely get it. I completely agree with you that one has to definitely have the skill of knowing artificial light. I live in a country where it rains all the time. And I live in a country where we don't have enough space. So it's not like you can just go to the window and take your photo. No, we're always in compact spaces. So artificial light is like a life skill for a photographer.
Yeah.
So I know, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of tell you that I just absolutely love your floral photography. That always draws me in.
Yeah. It's so funny because those photos have been taken in my living room with a green wall and a table, and then I just move all the kids stuff and all the mess.
Oh wow!
But now I also have it's like the chalk paint at the wall, and I also now have it here in my studio.
Right.
And also here are green, and I really like to make those settings. Although they're not food photography, but I just love to make compositions and play with colors and play with the light, and sometimes it's food, sometimes those are flowers. So
yeah, and I think that's also such a good way to explore your creativity, right? If say you're always doing food, the moment you shift your subject and you explore another domain, then you're kind of opening up possibilities. You're seeing things in a different way. So I think that's another thing that you probably bring to your creativity. Would you say so?
Yeah, I also give the advice to my students to explore it. So you have like the red line you're walking, you have your creative journey, and sometimes you can go to the left or to the right. So I just explored interior photography. So I did a lot of interior photography from houses, and they were published in Holland, but also in other countries. And I did it, I think, for 1 or 2 years. So somehow there I was point, okay, I like it, but my heart's not being faster from it. I can do it, but I really love it when last week I had a shoot here for the chalk paint
Right.
company. So it was with flowers, it was like making settings with table and a chair. So those kind of things I really like, but it's also good to explore those other possibilities of photography because you can attract other clients.
Right. Yeah.
So food photography clients are like restaurants, online food companies, caterers, whatever. But if you're doing interior photography, you can attract other clients, but you can also photograph the restaurant, the interior of the restaurant, for example,
Yeah.
or maybe for stylists, or maybe for interior architects, name them.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and maybe you're also great in those skills. So, yeah, why not?
Exactly. And you can just go as a full package where you photograph the chef, the interiors of the restaurant, the food, and
Yeah,
some
portraits.
tablescapes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a full
yeah.
package. That's amazing. I love it. Also, I love it because I'm also an architect. So the idea of shooting interiors is like,
Oh,
it really, yeah, I am an architect and food photographer. So just shooting interiors is something that I can definitely relate to. But tell me one thing, Lucy, because we are talking all about growing as a creative, we are talking all about growth, right? Before we really get into the nitty gritty and the details of it, tell us, as a photographer, what does growth in photography really mean to you?
I think you are developing as a person, but also in your business. So it's like actually, if you're growing as a person, you're also growing your business. I think you will get stronger also about yourself, about your rate, the qualities from your photography. So I think if I just look back at 5 years ago and now, of course, there's a huge difference, but I also practiced a lot. And I think in the way of photography, you have to make meters, you have to practice a lot, making lots of mistakes, and then you will grow. And I think you also will grow like you can do assignments for photography, but work of photographer is not often only assignments. You can do lots of other things. My problem is that I have too many ideas, so I really have to narrow down.
Right.
That's why I started, for example, my Lucie membership, so I can all put my new ideas in that. So, for example, there's also like interior course photography, but also product photography, not only about food. So I can put it in there. But I think you can make your own creative path. You can make your own choices. And if something not working, like I did interior photography, but 1 year ago, I said, okay, I will stop with interior photography. I can do it. I can make beautiful pictures. I can also use the speed lights with it. I developed myself in it, but that's not my gut feeling. I'm happy about other things, and that's okay to say no. Actually, saying no is very difficult. So, but
Right.
back to your question. So yeah, I think developing in also learn new skills and not only about photography but also business. So I think I really growth in my business, working with a team, outsourced task, yeah, doing things better in your business with all the aspects.
Right. So basically, learning, practicing, becoming more confident as a photographer, exploring, and then seeing whether if you're a hobbyist, then just upping your skills. But if you're a professional, if you have a business, then upping your business game. So, did I sum it up correctly? Did I say the right things?
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Tell me, Lucie, what do you think? You work with so many photographers. You work with them on a one-on-one basis. You host workshops, which are on a very personal level. You're meeting people. You're working with creatives, groups, one-on-one. You're working with them online. What would you say are the qualities that one needs to have as a creative to be able to grow, to be able to up their skills, to be able to evolve as a photographer?
Well, one thing I often say to my students is listen to your feelings. Of course, learn and absorb every knowledge you can find, like about food photography. Like you have like the rules of composition, but those are not rules, those are advices. You can follow them, but it's just an advice, but follow your feelings. And if you're following your feelings, you have your own unique style. That's you. That's what you are creating. When you are creating like a pizza and I'm doing food styling of pizza, it's totally different because we are different. And that's where you can be special in something. And I think you have to stand behind yourself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the beginning, of course, it's very difficult because you think, oh gosh, I'm not making good pictures, or I'm not so good as her, or a lot of people will compare themselves with others. But if you see my pictures in the beginning, they weren't like now. I also practice a lot. So, that's what I often say.
So basically, we have to tap into who we are as individuals so that we can bring out that uniqueness, and that's how we grow. And no matter what art we are in, we only grow if we know who we are, we are secure, and then we bring our personality to our art. Wow, I love it.
Yes, and sometimes you don't have to. I was away with the kids and my husband last week, and I was thinking, why sometimes you see some same stylings, like the same style, but why not totally different? Why don't follow your own feelings? So Absolutely. Maybe I'm going to do some freestyling soon and doing something totally different. But I think when you're doing something totally different, you will stand out.
Absolutely.
And maybe not people don't like it. Well, whatever. I really believe that our clients, they like where you work, they will come to you.
Yes.
So yeah.
And wow. But tell me, how are these qualities? Would you say that these are different or same to the qualities that we need to grow as an entrepreneur, to grow as a professional? So the qualities that we have as a creative versus the qualities that we need to have as an entrepreneur, are they same or are they different, or where do they come together?
You have to get into action. Just do it. It's my phrase.
Yeah.
Lots of people are saying, oh, you're really a doing person. Yeah, I am. And lots of people are saying, I'm a perfectionist. It's not good enough. It's not, my website isn't online yet. Just go. Google have to get 30 days to index your website. Go for it. Go approach those dream clients. What you have to lose, So I think you have to follow your gut feeling, but also you can make mistakes. It's okay because you will learn from it. I really made a lot of mistakes. And every time, small or big, I learn from it. And I also will give it through my students. So I have lots of experience. And I think you can make beautiful pictures, but then the entrepreneur side is really a totally different side. So you have to negotiate about your rate or ask when a client isn't happy with a shoot, or you did a wrong format or size. Those are all experience, and just be open. Ask the client what he or she wants. I just told it in my masterclass. Just be open, but go into action and not. Of course, everyone is totally different, but just go for it.
Yeah, it's like everyone says that your first episode of the podcast, your first song, your first painting, your first photo, it's crappy. So do it crappy, do it scrappy, do it whatever, just get going, because you're only going to get better. If you keep waiting for the right moment, you're still going to start scrappy. So just start. So I love it.
Yeah, my first live in English language. So first I was in Dutch language and I stepped over in English and I was, oh my gosh, what I'm doing to myself. But now I'm having podcasts in English, I'm giving business program in English language. But I know I don't have like the English accent. No, I'm coming from Holland. I'm not from England. But I'm stepping over the fact that I don't have the English accent. And sometimes I have to search for an English word. Okay, but I'm doing my thing. People find it okay. They do not disturb for it. And if they disturb, they go away from the live Instagram or whatever. But yeah, I'm just easy and just do the things. But you're right, yeah.
You're tapping into your uniqueness. You're tapping into who you are. And that doesn't have to appeal to everybody, but it's appealing to everyone who wants to be there, listening to you, working with you. So yeah, we all just have to embrace who we are and just be confident. Love it. So tell me one thing. I know that you've mentioned this so many times that you practiced and you practiced and you practiced. And so obviously your photography shows that it's gone in so many different directions. But give us a little bit, especially for our listeners, if they're listening now, tell them how you practice, what were you looking for, or how you were tweaking your photography every time that you were practicing. And if you learned something, then how did you take it up a notch the next time? So tell us how practicing helped you evolve your photography.
If I give advice to the listeners, if you want to practice like food photography, how I did it, I just had another job. But every Tuesday morning, I decided I'm going to do some freestyling. I will also make a podcast about it.
Yeah.
I'm not cook. So lots of people are surprised. You don't cook your food? We're seeing on your pictures? No, sometimes, but often someone else is doing the cooking. And I know lots of people don't have enough time, don't have time to cook a complicated dish. But you can buy like a beautiful bread, the fruits of the season, the vegetables, whatever you find, it's beautiful. And just photograph it in your bedroom or in your kitchen where the light is and go practice for 1 or 2 hours. So don't give yourself the pressure, I have to make 3 dishes and photograph it. No, just buy 1 or 2 pieces, heroes, we talk in about food photography world.
Right.
And just go have a look how the light is falling on your subject. If you turn around or photograph it from the left or the photographing it with backlight, how does the sun working in your photography? Playing with the settings from your camera, so like the shallow depth of field, using the tripods. Tripods often new for lots of people. When I had the first assignment for that restaurant, and I didn't work a lot with the tripods, and I just practiced to work with the tripod to clap it all out and in. So I won't would like a fool if I was
oh man,
that was my first assignment 5 years ago.
Oh wow.
But yes, just take small steps, and every time you will learn things like photographing ice creams. So I photographed water ice creams, and then I had assignments for like, I think for 6 months, 3 days in a week, photographing lots of dishes. And in the morning at 8 o'clock, we're already photographing like 12 dishes. And they were saying, oh, Lucie, there are water ices coming up. You have to photograph them. And I was totally calm. And I was, okay. And I already had it in my head. Yeah, their background. Yeah, using my fake ice cubes. Yeah, colors. Check. Because I already did it, so I didn't get nervous or stuff like that. So that's really important to experience all the different settings, brown foods or hot cheese, whatever.
Wow. I mean, if somebody would have asked me that question, this is usually my answer as well, that you pick one thing and you work on that one thing in that one shoot and do not overcomplicate it. So set a small goal, like you said, either choose your settings or light or composition and choose either technical photography settings as your aim or composition as your aim or food as your aim. Like you said, ice cream. So practice with ice cream or sandwiches or something that you find challenging. Wow, love it. So part of this is also that, especially now, the way social media is like completely saturated with food photography. And everyone is seeing a range of work from creators who have like 200,000, 500,000 followers, and their food photography is another level, also because they've been doing for 10 years or 15 years. And they're also seeing other photographers who are just starting out. So there's a huge range. So I feel like a lot of budding food photographers, they face a lot of overwhelm, especially seeing everything that is on social media, and they're like, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I need to do that. So do you have any tips for food photographers? Like, how can they reduce that overwhelm of creating photos?
Okay, Instagram, yes, that's important, but you don't only have Instagram. You have Pinterest, you have LinkedIn. Facebook is not my thing, but you have also your blog. When I just started out, I wrote 3 blog posts per week because I had the time.
Wow.
Now I was inspired. And I still love writing blog posts and I really want to make time for it again. But I have still profit from it. So when I'm looking for something on Google about photography, I also see myself. But often clients can find me through Google. So don't forget, if you have not lots of followers on Instagram, okay, it's nice to have lots of followers, but I really worked hard for it, I have to admit. But now I'm also focusing on my blog, Pinterest. A lot of visitors come through Pinterest to my website, to my membership or business program or backdrops. But also, just for example, I had a podcast with Spice Decor. She's also she was in my team, and actually, she having lots of assignments just from the people she know. Mm-hmm. So she was working in the cook world. So lots of people came to her because she was telling it on LinkedIn and Facebook. You know, lots of people forget LinkedIn. You have lots of people there. Just change your bio, saying you're a photographer, post things over there, and not only focus on one channel. Right. Just do more. Choose where your focus will lie.
So every time you feel that overwhelm of seeing, the range of photos, choose or shift your platform, find another source of inspiration, go somewhere else so that you know that there is another option available to you. All right, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah. I know that you mentioned that there was this one incident where, you bought the food from the restaurant and you shot it, and it was like a whole new revelation that, hey, I can be a food photographer. But at what point did food photography really become a full-time business for you? When did that happen?
Well, I had my side job for 3 days, but it was only in the afternoon. I also had 3 little kids, also like baby.
Oh, wow.
I was working for 3 days. So in the afternoon at kindergarten, and in the mornings I'm trying to do some assignments. And then I decided to change, not a regular job, but I can choose when I was working. So then I decided, okay, I'm getting more assignments. Now I'm working 2 days at the kindergarten. And that's how I leveled it up. So, and then I had to tell no to my clients because I was working in a kindergarten, and that was the point of saying, okay. And of course, I discussed it with the husband. I want to be a full-time food photographer, and I'm getting assignments, and I have to say no because I have my part-time job. So it was like a scary step, but I just did it, and I know, okay, when it won't be working, I can also go back to earn money, to the kindergarten. But I didn't went back any time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now I'm working like 4 days. Yeah, I had a really very nice assignment from TV Cooks here in Holland. That was also the point that I decided to work 4 days because I really want to do that assignment. And now, I'm also like a happy mother working and doing my thing.
Yeah. Wow. So you've obviously had a very interesting journey, both from a skill set point of view and also from a business point of view, how you've scaled it up little by little. Were there any big mistakes that happened along the way? Anything that you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could change this, or I could redo this, or I could erase it? Was there any such incident that happened? Yeah? All right, tell us.
I did lost photos from 6 months.
Oh my
So I
God.
did, I did had a backup. It was like a time capsule from Apple, and I did like a hard disk. But the hard disk, it was a miscommunication with me and the husband. I thought if you put it in, it will go directly. Made a backup, but it was the other disk. And the
Oh,
time capsule from Apple didn't work, and I dropped a cappuccino on my Apple laptop. It was
no.
like waves on my laptop. Yeah, I
No.
really was sick.
Oh my
And
God, I
then,
would have had a heart attack.
yeah, I wasn't happy at all.
Oh
But
gosh.
luckily, I had all my assignments. I already did send it to the clients. I only lost my free work, but it was actually good work. And I think I lost like 6 pictures from a free cooperation,
Hmm.
but this had really impact in the cooperation. And it wasn't. I had a backup, but
Yeah.
the time capture from Apple didn't work. It was so frustrating. I had, I think, conversations for 3 weeks with the Apple technical part, and that was really like I didn't have control of it.
Oh my
And
God.
I think that's was really a pity. On the other hand, the other party could also can imagine in my shoes, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's life. Yeah, back up your photos, please.
Oh my God. This is like a photographer's biggest nightmare. Gosh, I
Yeah.
have nightmares about this, losing photos, really. Oh gosh, that is a setback. Actually, it could be worse. It depends on how much you lose. So I love this tip, especially whether you're a creative,
Yeah.
hobbyist, professional, backup, backup, backup. Oh gosh, that'll
Yes,
save
because
you.
I also lost lots of content to post because I had a library full of content to post on, for my blog, for my Instagram, lost.
Oh
And
my God.
if you want to use pictures from 6 months ago, I think no, I want to use the pictures
Yes.
from last week because they were
Yeah.
great
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
much more better.
I
Yeah.
know. I know that feeling. But, as I'm talking to you, Lucy, it's like I can feel your passion. I can feel the happiness that you have and the amount of enthusiasm, the energy that you have for your field, for everything, every kind of photography that you do, and also for teaching. So tell us, how do you find joy in photography and how do you keep it? Like, does burnout happen? How do you inspire yourself back? And how do you continue to feel spirited about this creative field?
Yeah, I think it's good to have free time. So my free time is like last week I went to my 3 boys and the husband to La France, and I just hired an Airbnb. And I often bring my camera and just I'm like an addiction is photographing backgrounds. I only
Wow.
see
Yeah,
backgrounds.
yeah.
Like we did see backgrounds. Mommy, stop the car. There's a beautiful background, and that makes me happy. But also to have, I think if you're having a good time and relax, go have a walk outside, listen to other podcasts, get inspiration by other people, not only working. So give yourself free time, getting new energy. And sometimes if you don't have inspiration, it's okay. It's normal. I don't have inspiration every day. And sometimes I think the last 2 years, I'm really like a business, like the head of the business and checking all things. And now I have to go back to my thing. So I really planned freestylings again, just photography, a bread, I don't care.
Yeah.
But just so when I'm feeling not okay, I do know when I'm going to photograph something, I will be happy.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes if you're not feeling it, it's okay. You don't have to feeling it all the time. But find where you get inspiration from. Maybe it's nature. Maybe I like also to paint, not only backdrops, but also painting flowers or, reading a
Yeah.
book.
So just give yourself that space to fill yourself up with positivity, some other kind of creativity, and just make space in yourself for exercise is another, I guess, way to kind of fill that space. I just love that you said that we need to kind of take away the pressure. Sometimes we just need to photograph without any pressure, that we don't have to create a masterpiece for social media. We do not have to create a masterpiece for our client. We are just going to shoot a slice of bread and we're going to make it whatever we want, like you said, free spirited.
That's playing.
Right.
Sometimes we forget it.
Yeah.
And playing, that's like discovering new things, discovering your own style, or discovering, oh, that light, it's beautiful over there, And you don't have to get restrictions from an assignment, or it has to be light, bright setting, or stuff like that. No, just playing, go with the flow, then it will flow.
And when you do this, like when you're playing, do you set any intentions for yourself? For example, we talked about practicing before, right? So you said we take one thing and we kind of work on that. So it could be light or composition or food. So when you're playing, do you set any such guidelines or anything for yourself? Or it's like, blow me away, take it from here, surprise me.
Yeah,
Is it that?
I often are with lots of things with it. So I'm also with my podcast, I'm just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Maybe I will prepare 4 questions. You already saw it, but I just go with the flow. Also with live food styling settings, I have to buy the recipe like a salad. I will pick some props, but most of the time, maybe I already have like a setting in my head. I don't practice it before my live masterclass, but I just do it. And suddenly I'm seeing, often I have like the blue backdrop for the wrong example. And then it turns out beautiful with the oranges,
Yeah.
So that surprised me, and also take the people in my process, and they also see that I make mistakes. That's human.
Yeah.
And what I do to make the photo different.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking so much about photography. Tell us a bit about your business side, Lucie. Tell us a little bit about how you have scaled your business little by little, and what has that path been? So in photography, we kind of understand that you've practiced, you've learned, you give yourself that time and space to fill yourself up with inspiration and creativity. But how does it work in the business side?
I had a lot of assignments.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have this big studio yet. Mm-hmm. I had a small studio, so often I worked on location. I have to pack my car with lots of food styling props. I have to leave early in the morning, coming home late, doing my emails, my orders for the backdrops, teaching. And actually, I was tired all the time. Yeah. So suddenly I was thinking, okay, Lucie, you really have to outsource things to make it relaxer for you. I don't want to work in the evenings. I don't want to work in the weekends. I have 3 kids. I do want to see them. So then I decided to outsource some tasks. Right. And yes, it costs money, but I also have more freedom and focus where I'm good in. So I'm doing like the bookkeeping, or it can also be small things like I have someone help in housekeeping, but also folding all my clothes from free guys. Yeah. I can write a blog post, or I can record a podcast, for example, or doing all my emails. Absolutely. Or writing content for my business program. So that's why I was starting to outsource things. Also, like I automated the vinyl backdrop service. Okay. So I don't have to pack in all the vinyl backdrops or stuff like that. Another company is doing that. So I'm making more time for me, for making Lucie time, actually for the things I'm good in. So that was also one of the reasons why I started to make photographing business program, because I got so many questions from photographers. How do you get your clients, or how do you get your freelance? Because I'm working with other freelancers. Right. And in the 1 month they're working more, and other month they're working less. It just depends what I want, what my budget is. But I don't want to get tired every day anymore, I just want to have the good positive vibes. And of course, it was great because I had a lot of assignments.
Right.
But I sometimes say no to some assignments. It was really
Aha.
hard.
Wow.
But now I can decide, okay, depends of the week, of course, but now I can decide 4 o'clock, okay, now I'm going to home, or next week I'm giving my 3-day food photography camp, so I know it's full of giving the workshop, so it's full of work. That's okay. And the week after that, I will take more rest.
Wow. So it has been like a step-by-step kind of a journey for you. You started with client projects and that picked up. You could afford to get some help, whether it was personal or in your business. And then from that, you just started noticing how students were, or the other photographer community was approaching you. And you were like, okay, so this is the way you could probably help them. And that's how you've just scaled it one by one. And I think even in your courses, I've seen, you're going from workshops to online courses to a business program. So it's kind of also transitioned that way. Wow. So you've just taken one cue at a time and built up on that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I have a very personal question for you, and you can choose whether you would like to answer that for our audience or not. And that is with respect to your son. I know that you had an incident a few years ago that was a bit traumatizing. And I had seen your stories at that time. I had seen when you had talked about it, but I've also seen how you have bounced back, the resilience. I've also seen how you are still sitting here and you're still talking so passionately and so enthusiastically, and you're still, you're bringing that energy back. So would you be comfortable to tell our audience a little bit about that incident and how you have been able to bounce back in your creative journey and feel inspired again in spite of the incident?
Yes, yeah, I can tell about it. I won't dive deep into the details.
Yeah.
Because it was a very traumatic time. We're on holiday in Lanzarote with the family from my husband. And my eldest son, he was sick. And long story short, we were in the hospital after 4 times visiting the doctors, and they didn't solve anything. It was very frustrating because he had 12 days fever. It wasn't very good. So we were in the hospital in Lanzarote, and the antibiotic didn't get any effects. And suddenly they were saying he has to go to Gran Canaria, to the hospital, because we can't help him here. And actually, they don't know what he had in his head. So I have to fly with only an empty bag in my shorts and flip-flops alone to Gran Canaria. And the husband was coming later because he had to stay with you. And you was brought to the hospital with a trauma helicopter. Well, it was like, if I can say it, hell on earth. But it was really... We didn't know what he had. We thought he was dying.
Oh gosh.
And well, actually, somehow they discovered he had subdural emphysema. It's like, before the brains there was all stuff in it. I don't know if you have to say it in English, but he was operated, and then his bone wasn't placed back. Yeah. If you hear it, you think, what? Is it possible? Yes, it is. So he had no bone here in his forehead.
Oh my God.
Because the brains were swollen from the infection. But lots of family came over to help us and support us, because we really even can't decide we have to eat or stuff like that. So it was like a survival modus. And I really shared a lot on Instagram, not making pictures of him, of course, but I shared like the and you know what's going about. But I really don't regret that I shared it on Instagram, and I get like the, how do you call it?
Goosebumps. I'm getting them now. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps now. Yeah. This is
so many supports from all the Instagram people. It was really amazing. It was really amazing.
Actually, that was the time I probably got connected to you, just around that time. And then I read your story and I saw your updates, and I was like, oh my God, how is this woman functioning? Because seeing your child in pain is probably the biggest pain that you can feel. But you have really taken that pain and turned it into passion. You've turned it into positivity. So how did you do that, Lucie?
Well, I think there's more than here on Earth. I think you've received all the energy and positive energy from everyone was burning candles and stuff like that. So he was in coma, and after 3 days he was breathing again, and 3 days later he was walking. So in the hospital they were saying, I don't know what we see here.
Yeah.
And I think we were 2 weeks in the hospital, and third week we were flying back to Holland with our private jet with a nurse on board. And
Yeah.
but we still weren't there yet, surgery and stuff like that. But then I canceled all my assignments. I really, before Christmas, I really was in a flow, lots of assignments, lots of work. I have to cancel everything.
Yeah.
But you do it because you have, I have to take care of him. And
Yeah.
also there are all 2 little boys. And actually I didn't work for like 6 months.
Okay.
Because I was in the school of Joep, because he still has it, like a helmet, because he had surgery.
Yeah.
There was like in Finland they made a 3D bone and
Yeah.
placed it in his head.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But then I had the time to focus. I only had my laptop.
Yeah.
So I had the time to write in blog posts, to make new things, to get online a lot. And that was also great to think about your business again. What do I really want? And also, I think when you can share personal things, clients also know it. So I didn't have to tell the whole story again. And that saves me lots of time and energy and negative energy.
Right.
Because you don't want to talk it every time. Now I'm having therapy about this, and the therapy is talking about it. So it's so
Yeah.
it's meant to be you're asking about it.
Yeah. It's painful to talk about it. I know, but thank you for sharing this, because I feel like when we are talking about growing as a creative, I think setbacks in life are a very important part of it, and how we deal with it. And, some people just completely give up their art. Some people just stop singing. They stop painting. They stop creating music. Some people just stop taking photos because they have a negative association with it, which is why I'm so thankful that you were able to share this with our listeners, so that if someone needs to hear this, I hope that they've got the inspiration from you. I have one last question for you, Lucie. What would be your number one advice to food photographers out there? Like whether they're starting out or whether they are far ahead in their journey, your number one advice for food photographers?
Yeah, 2 words: reach out.
Aha, I love it.
Yeah, because if you're just starting out and Google can't find you yet very great, or clients, just reach out to your dream clients, or clients, maybe a restaurant in your village, because if you don't do it, they don't know you exist. And if you do reach out, okay, the only thing you can get a no, but if you reach out to 10 people, maybe one is thinking, okay, or maybe it's 6 months later. I often tell in my business program, are the seeds you're planting. It takes time, they're growing.
Yeah.
But just do it.
Don't hold back. If you want something, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I think that's so important, because so many times we feel like we don't have the confidence, or, oh, what will they think? Forget all of that. Just do it. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Lucie, it was so wonderful talking to you. And I've obviously seen your work, but just connecting to you in person, just hearing your stories, just hearing how you approach photography. And I just love your free spiritedness. I love your passion. I love your energy for this. I'm feeling pumped right now just talking to you. And I can only imagine how people feel when they take your workshops or they are with you present, creating photos. Thank you so much for sharing, such valuable insights, and for actually taking away the overwhelm that a lot of food photographers have around either creating photos or from running their business. I think you just kind of simplify all of that for everybody. You just demystify a lot of that. So thank you so much. But before you go, could you tell our audience what your social channels are, where they can find you, where's your awesome blog, what's your backdrop shop, and all of the fun stuff?
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me as a guest. And I have a feeling I already know you for years, so that's so funny.
I know. It's amazing.
Find me at Instagram at Lucie Beck. I have lots of blog posts about food styling and food photography. You can find it on mylucie.com. There you can also find my shop, My Lucie Backdrops, and my vinyl and digital backdrops. And they are also at Instagram, My Lucie Backdrops. Pinterest, that's the Lucie the Book. That's my other name. And podcast, you can just search food photography Lucie Beck, and there you can find me.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, Lucie, it was such a pleasure having you, and especially because you're a fellow podcaster. So high five, virtually high fiving you right now. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys. So that was Lucie, and wasn't she just adorable? I was talking to her and I could see the sparkle in her eyes when she talked about photography. I could also see the drive and the just do it attitude when she talked about business. I think she left us with a lot of lessons in this. I think just being free-spirited, just letting inspiration find us, just playing with food many times is what can help us evolve as a photographer, something that can take our creativity to another level, just taking away the pressure, just finding new sources of inspiration. She taught us so many little small things that can actually help us grow as a photographer. And not just from a creative point of view. I think as a business, she gave us some really solid pointers, boss. I think just her number one advice of reaching out, that's the key. That's everything. And also, like, don't wait for perfection. Be scrappy. Do it. And then the third thing is find cues. Build your business on circumstances that life is offering you, that people around you are creating for you. Grab that opportunity and use it to build yourself up as an entrepreneur. So I think just knowing how you can grow as a food photographer, whether you're a hobbyist, whether you're a business person, whether you're doing this personally, whether this is all professional, I think there were so many learnings in what she told us today. And I particularly really resonated with the positivity that she has towards being a creative, not taking the pressure, not falling under any kind of comparison, just doing your thing, tapping into your individuality, just being you and you will actually make you thrive. It'll make you grow as a creative. Now, how powerful is that? All right. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a rating and review. And please don't forget to subscribe as well. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Lucie or myself, and we'd be happy to answer all your questions. I'll see you next time with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.